Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Simone and I talk all things femininity, from nourishing it and also how to step into it. And today's video is going to be about reconnecting with your inner child. Why this is so important for being able to flourish in your feminine energy is because when we are children, we are purely, authentically ourselves. But over time, when maybe we speak when we're not supposed to, or we act out, or we express an emotion that people, our caregivers, don't know how to handle. Over time, when we are told not to do things, not to express ourselves, we lose that part of ourselves. And that part of ourselves, that part in our childhood, is a key player in who and how we carry ourselves in our feminine energy. So that is why we are going to be talking about reconnecting with our inner child today. Okay, so I have had the blessing of living with my niece and my nephew right now. They are 3 and 1 years old, and it's chaotic sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they will be screaming and they will be whining, crying, and sometimes I feel so irritated by it. But then when I think about what I'm teaching on my channel and how to show up in your feminine energy, I honestly look at it as a blessing that I'm able to witness how they're growing, to witness how they express themselves, how they ask for help, and also how they react to how we parent them, to how we tell them, no, you can't do that, and how they become limited in a way. At least with my niece, that is the case. But it's also been a very healing experience for me, because I feel like when she gets frustrated or she's sad and crying, I'm able to support her and offer her the reassurance that I wish I had when I was a kid going through these similar feelings that she was going through. And I just love being there for her, that she has the option to come to me if she needs. And that's essentially what you want to be able to do with your inner child. So let's get right into it. All right, so the first step is to reparent your inner child, or to show up for her. Now, what I mean by reparenting is literally just treating yourself the way that you wish your parents treated you when you were younger. So whatever thing or emotion, or maybe it was money that you felt you were missing from your childhood, that support, financial support, emotional support, stability, if you felt like that was missing in your life from your parents, then that is something that you need to be able to give yourself. Now, if it's financial, that calls for a whole other video, but this is going to be about providing yourself with the emotional support. So, before I get into the emotions, I want to say that the ways that you can reparent yourself in a more masculine guided approach, like if you were the father figure, then what you would do is you would give them some structure to their lives. So the reason that children are, I think, so sporadic is because they are in their feminine energy. And feminine energy is very playful, and it's just fun and in the present moment. And you're feeling all the sensations, it's beautiful, it's an experience. But children, because they are in that mode of femininity, they do not have a lot of structure. So you have to give them structure, you have to teach them things. They go to school to learn. So what you want to do, if you do not have this already, is give yourself routines that will help you thrive. Routines that will replenish your energy and not drain it. I don't know why I'm tripping over my words today. But yes, also feed her healthy foods, exercise her body, because that is very important for your health and your happiness. Speak kind words to her, and just be able to give her that love, that unconditional love, support, and acceptance that maybe you were missing in your childhood. Because now we're going to get into the emotional bit of how to connect with your inner child, how to care for your inner child. And all of that is going to be about how to love and accept her. Okay, the next step in showing up for your inner child is protecting your feminine energy. Okay, what I mean by this is if you are in a situation right now that is draining your energy, then sweetie, you need to set a boundary or you need to cut it off completely. Maybe it's a person that is draining your energy. Maybe it's a coworker that you're talking to and you don't really feel a connection. It doesn't feel aligned and you just keep on talking to them. I used to do that sometimes, and after the conversations I would feel so depleted, and it was because I would keep on talking to them because I would feel the need to people please to make them feel okay, when really my energy was being drained. And what I could have said was, I just need some time to myself to just recoup. Would you mind giving me some space? Something like that. Why this is also very important for reconnecting with your inner child is because when we are children, like I said, we are in our feminine energy. And because of that, because we are so present in the moment, we are not worrying about things that could go wrong. Most of the time, like when you're a kid, I mean, I don't remember, but that's how it seems with my niece right now and my nephew. When you're a child, you're not worrying about things that could go wrong. So things can go wrong, definitely, when you're not worrying about that. But it's also such a beautiful time to be in the present moment. But that's a part of the reason, a part of the way that you can show up for your inner child is by protecting her. And protecting her from people that will either disrespect or violate you, and protecting her from things or people that drain her energy. Okay, next up, the next step in reconnecting with your inner child is to speak to her and let her speak to you. So, this is very similar to the relationship, how I practice my relationship with God, or how I fuel my relationship with God. So when I pray to God, I not only speak to him, tell him all of my worries, but I also let him speak to me. And I am just completely silent, and I will let him say whatever he needs to tell me. That is very similar to a certain practice I do with my inner child when I feel stressed or angry or upset. And I think this practice is very helpful. So I'm going to give you a little rundown. So this is what I do. When I'm feeling an uncomfortable emotion, or when I'm just feeling disconnected from my happiness and feeling fulfilled, I will do a meditation, and I will envision my child self. Her name is Moni because that was my childhood nickname. I will envision little Moni going through the emotions that I'm feeling right now. So say I'm feeling really stressed one day, and I will envision Moni feeling stressed, and maybe she has an outburst or something, but then I will also envision my present day self as separate of her and in control of the situation and just witnessing my inner child. And this is very healing, not only for reparenting myself, but also in the sense that I just lost my train of thought. Okay, anyways, let me continue with this example. So that was so weird. So here is my inner child, and then here is me. And what it also helps me with is it gives me control, and it gives me confidence and self-trust. to be able to handle this emotion that I'm going through, to be able to confront it instead of run away from it. And also it has the effect of that unconditional love that we are missing from our parents when we are growing up. And sometimes they can't give it to us because they don't know how. And not that it's their fault, but maybe they were just simply not taught. So it's not a place to blame them, but it is a place for you to be able to grow in your connection with your inner child and in the ways that you are able to care for her and show up for her. That is one meditation practice that I really love. And what you can do when you are just sitting with her is you can allow her to speak to you. Just listen and listen to your thoughts, whatever you're thinking right now. Not right now, but in the meditation, whatever you're thinking. Or maybe it's some sort of experience that you're still holding on to. You need to be able to unpack that and let it flow into this meditation. And then maybe you do a little journaling afterwards. Also, when she does speak to you, let her be honest. Do not hold anything back, even if you think it's weird or if you think you should feel ashamed of feeling that way. Like, full reign. Let everything out, because the more you hold on to, the more you're holding on to other people's opinions, and the more that will close your energy off and other opportunities to come into your life. So just let everything out. Be completely honest, be completely authentic. Along the lines of authenticity, we also have shadow work. This is one of my favorite practices, and I do it by journaling and also similar meditation practices like that one I just described. But with journaling for shadow work, what it does is it helps you to recognize the traits about yourself or the habits that you have, emotional addictions, that make you feel ashamed or make you feel unworthy. And the shadow is the part of ourselves that maybe when we were younger, when we were children, we didn't like, or not we didn't like, but that people taught us not to like, not to embrace. So maybe when you would have a temper tantrum, like I would, when I would express myself in a way that was considered mean, or just the other day, my niece was on the kitchen table, like crawling around, and they told her, get off, like, and then she hid under a chair. That I see as something that is going to weigh on her in the future, and something that she was taught to feel ashamed by. Again, none of it was intentional, but that is just how children are. It's very egocentric in their minds. So I'm going to give you some prompts that I liked to do while I was doing shadow work and that have helped me reconnect with my inner child. Someone just called me, so I had to restart the video. But as I was saying, I'm going to give you some shadow work prompts that I have found really helpful in my shadow work journey and that allow you to unpack all of these things that you might be holding on to. So the first one is sorry, I just lost it. Okay, give me a second. Oh, okay. The first one is, who hurt me the most when I was a child and how can I forgive them? So a lot of the time with shadow work, you will find that you're holding on to a lot of emotion and a lot of external opinions from when you were a child that never got unpacked, and that's why there's so much energy blockage in your life, because you're just holding on to so many things that don't really apply to your life anymore. Like, they only applied when you were a kid, but now you're bringing them into your adult life, and that's why they're affecting you. So for me, I really don't like the lighting right now. Sorry guys, I don't mean to be distracting, but it's like weird. Oh, anyways, but for me, one of the things that's bothering me right now is this lighting. Okay, this is better. So one of the things that that one of the people that bothered me when I was younger, that made me feel unworthy, that made me feel ashamed and embarrassed to be myself, were my teachers and my parents. Because as you all know, if you've watched my past videos, I used to struggle a lot with temper tantrums from a very young age up until like middle school. So a lot of the time I would have temper tantrums in public spaces, like in school or at the shopping malls, and my parents or my teachers would have to drag me out of the classroom and take me to a private space to decompress. And what that made me feel was embarrassed and ashamed. Like my emotions did not matter, and like they were a burden to everyone else around me. Of course, now I understand why they had to take me out of those spaces, but 7-year-old me did not understand that. That was a sneeze. I don't know if you guys heard that. But I was holding on to so much of that shame and embarrassment that I carried on until I was probably like 19 or 20 years old. And it was just so much that I needed to let go of in order to allow other things to come into my life, other people, other types of relationships that were not going to make me feel ashamed, but were instead going to make me feel empowered and proud of who I am. So that is one prompt. I'm going to give 2 more. Oh, this isn't a prompt, but it's a really helpful practice. It's writing a letter to someone that you're holding resentment against. So similar to the example I just gave with holding resentment against a parent figure or a guardian from your childhood, another helpful way to express that is through writing. And this is the best because you can literally have free reign with it, and you can just let everything out that you are feeling because they're never going to see it. And it's very healing because you can be so raw with it. Because again, they're never going to see it. So just let anything out on paper. And what's coming to mind right now is Regina George in her book. Oh, I can't believe I forgot what it's called. But in her book, like writing, she is the, like that scene. And then also in White Chicks, when she's writing, dear Mr. like that, in that case, it wasn't emotions, but I just think those 2 examples are really funny. But if you have to be like that when you are writing your journals down or your letters to whoever it was that you're holding resentment against, do it. Like embody that energy fully so that you can release it. And finally, the last journal prompt I think would help you a lot is, what toxic traits do I have in relationships? And this one is a stinger because none of us like to acknowledge the fact that we're toxic, especially when it comes to being toxic with other people. And I, for one, I really don't like acknowledging those toxic traits of mine because there used to be a lot, but now there's only like a few, you know, we're easing into it. But it's really helpful to use this practice if you are in a relationship because that's the best way to study yourself, to study your habits and patterns and your emotional reactions to things that your partner says or does, independent of you or whatever. But the toxic traits that you hold are ingrained in negative self-beliefs that you were taught to believe about yourself when you were younger. Maybe it came from a negative experience in a past relationship, and they also show you your emotional reactions to things and your triggers, and that plays a big part as well into your shadow self. So those are the 3 prompts / practices that you can do for shadow work. I just keep thinking about the White Chicks scene. I'm gonna add it in here maybe because it's so funny. Okay. Alrighty, so now we are done with the second step, which was speaking to your inner child. And we are moving on to the third step, which is the best part, in my opinion. And it is allowing your inner child to thrive, express, and create. And you can do this step after you do the 2 steps that I just mentioned. But in this step, you are able to reconnect with who you are authentically, like whatever your soul was just naturally drawn to as a child. And maybe it's not drawn to the same things that it was as a child, but today you are fully allowing yourself to step into that energy, to step into the energy of going after what it is that lights your soul on fire. That is so childlike, and I mean that in a really good way, because a lot of people do not. A lot of people restrict their inner child and say, no, that is not realistic, that will not make us money, that will not be able to support us. But when you are able to push all of that worry to the side and say, I'm going to pursue this and I'm going to make money out of it, like watch and learn. When you are able to say that, you become very confident and you build up so much self-trust in yourself. And that is something that our inner child has from when we are born, that is broken down. That self-trust is broken down by the people that have raised us. So yes, have fun with yourself, engage in play and do things that are creative. So two of the things that I love to do, dance and painting. I love doing these things. I love dancing because I can do it whenever. All I need is music. I don't even need music actually, but it's very healing for my emotions that are trapped in my body, because emotions can get stuck in your body. If you've read The Body Keeps Score, you know. And it just feels so nice to also learn about other cultures as well, because I will dance to a bunch of different types of music, and it feels like you're a part of the culture in a way, especially when you look up the dances online and you try to replicate them. I really want to start taking classes for dance too, because it's just something that really replenishes my energy and makes me feel connected to my higher purpose. But art as well, I love to paint and draw, because that is something that I was always drawn to as a child, and that just makes me feel so emotionally intimate with my canvas, and I absolutely love it. So whatever type of practice that lights your soul on fire, or maybe that just makes you feel so playful and free to do whatever it is that you want, that you have complete creative freedom with, then you should definitely engage in that, because that will feed your inner child's desires. Along with the creativity side, how you can also be playful is in interactions. It can be in interactions with your family, your friends, even your coworkers. I know I was using the example of the coworker that I didn't really enjoy talking to and it drained my energy, but I was also really playful with the coworkers that I did like, and it was just so fun, and it was a way to make our work a fun environment that we genuinely just forgot we were working. And if you can manage to do that somehow in your friendships, or in school maybe, and to take the responsibility off of you for just maybe a second or two, then it's a really nice feeling to have for you and for the people that you create that feeling for. Okay, those were all of the steps that I have for reconnecting with your inner child. The main point I want you to take away from this is to reconnect with your inner child. You have to build self-trust. All of those things that I just mentioned, all of these steps, they require you to have self-trust, and they require you to have the confidence in yourself, in whatever you're feeling, to be able to manage those feelings and to be able to show up for yourself when you're feeling those ways, when maybe no one showed up for you in your past when you were younger. Those are the main things I want you to take away, and just remember that reconnecting with your inner child is a huge, huge component in embracing your feminine side. So I hope you all apply everything that I just taught you and have a lovely, lovely day. Okay? Take care.